Rob and Slim Show.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Seth.
Hey, Saff, how are you? Kelci Saffery from the Tiger King. How are you?
Yep. I'm very well. I'm sorry I'm a little behind.
That's okay. That's okay. Right at the bat, I just want to say thanks for talking to us. You were my favorite. You were my favorite from the whole show, and it just seemed like you were genuinely not out to screw Joe over.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and no, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
No problem. How did you first connect with Joe Exotic?
I was getting out of the military. I wanted, the next big thing, the next big adventure. And I've always loved tigers, so I honestly just did a Google search on how I would be able to interact with one in my very near future. And at the time, I was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, which is about an hour from Wynnewood, where Joe is. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way it worked out, and it's,
Wow.
So, I was just curious how that meeting went. Like, did you just show up there and were like, I want to meet the man in charge?
No, I actually emailed him, because after I did the search, and his park popped up, he said that he offered internships, just these programs where you can go down there and interact with these cats, and I was like, sign me up, man. And, through email, he doesn't read exactly like you see in person. Joe's very loud and everything, in his voice and his visual and his style, and his personality. So yeah, it definitely didn't read well like that in emails. But I mean, I've never met a Joe Exotic before that, and I'll probably never meet one.
He is a rare breed of magnificence. I don't know how else to explain him. He's incredible.
Right.
Have you had any interaction since he's been to prison with him?
I have had just the one, and the only reason for that, he's definitely called me a time or two, but the only reason I haven't answered is because, I just disconnected completely from the entire thing.
Okay.
But I did take a call from him one time in 2018, because I went and saw his mother. And I knew I owed it to him just to speak on it, just to let him know how his mom's doing and whatnot. So I was glad I was able to do so.
That's cool. Yeah, it seemed like you just wanted to step away because in the documentary, it didn't show you really present at his trial and all. I just figured you were done with it at that point.
I was, and it was not in a sense where there was any type of animosity. I wanted to disconnect because I knew that I was not doing any good there, and it wasn't anyone else's fault but mine. So yeah. I stepped away quietly and on mutual terms, and that's how I left it with everyone there, including Joe.
Were you there when what's his name? Jeff. Was that the guy's name, Jeff, when he came
Jeff Lowe, Jeff, yeah, I think it's Jeff.
Yeah. So the documentary doesn't really get too deep into details as far as that type of that relationship, but Jeff was actually around since about 2016. So he was there for a good amount of time while I was there. But Jeff and Joe did the business end of things, and I was more animal care. So our paths never really crossed very often.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, he just seemed like. He seemed like a horrible person to deal with, but yeah, if you weren't dealing with him on a regular basis, then yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, no, I actually tried to avoid it at all costs. His lifestyle in general, his character is not my cup of tea, so I just stayed out of his way, he stayed out of mine, and that's kind of how our relationship stayed, is more on the professional level.
Yes. What how long did you work there before you lost your arm?
I started there, first step foot on park in 2010, and it was 2013 October when I had my incident. So almost 3 years.
Do you remember it happening?
Of course I do.
I didn't know if maybe you just blacked out. I think it would be so traumatic that maybe there's a chance that you might not remember. So I didn't know. Wow.
Yeah, no, I was aware, adrenaline was pumping, don't get me wrong, but my main focus was I needed to stay calm, because there was other people involved. There's this, dangerous animal involved, so I just wanted to stay calm, and in that, you're able to kind of collect everything that's going on. So, yeah, I definitely remember every detail.
What do you think caused it in just that one moment? Was it just an accident, like something that normally would never have happened, or was there anything that may have caused it?
I mean, it's a combination of the fact that, you know, I got complacent, and I just timed out really and just started doing things, kind of going through the motions of things, you know. And it was an absolute mistake to reach into his cage. I mean, that's his territory. He knows that cage is there just as much as I do. So yeah, it was a mistake on my end, complacency, and then of course I'm dealing with an apex predator. You know, these animals are completely unpredictable. You know, we don't train them. I don't, at least. I just kind of mimic behaviors. You know, repetition is everything, and so yeah, you're always dealing with a wild animal, no matter what.
Yeah, I feel like no matter what, exactly. You're never, even if they are used to you, they're never going to be trained. They're never going to be docile.
It's still a wild animal.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, the combination of all of that, it's not, you know, it's not a job that you do because you don't want to get dirty and you don't want to get hurt. Yeah. You know, those are two things you kind of expect. So yeah, just another day, really.
Have you ever considered a prosthetic?
I did immediately, actually, because I mean, I've lived, you know, two-handed up until that point. So my big thing was I made this drastic change and I need to get back to what is normal to me. So yes, immediately I did. But man, I'll tell you what, after about 6 or 7 months, I just realized I get along pretty good without one. So I just stopped pursuing one.
Okay, wow. And since then, since being involved with Joe, his zoo and all, have you worked with animals since?
Yeah, so not on a professional level. Fortunately for me, I've made a lot of friends in the industry, and they allow me to interact with their big cats. But I don't have any at home. I don't have any, you know, personal pets. So that would be the only time I interact with them, and it's never on a professional level.
Okay.
But you would say you're still very passionate about big cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not something that falls off, you know. Definitely very passionate, you know, but I think my next move, and I've obviously put a lot of thought into it, but, you know, I've been a part of the captive, you know, big cat world here in America, and that is the only side that I know, you know, so I can't even really argue the argument what's best for them, you know, captivity or the wild or whatever the case is.
Right.
So I would definitely see them in the wild. That's definitely my next step, and it's something that I'm actively pursuing.
Because they're not thriving in the wild, correct? Like a lot of these animals are being preserved by being bred.
Exactly. That's exactly it. You know, so I'm sure there's a balance there, and it's not, you know, just one-sided. But right now, I only can speak for one side, and I don't really like arguing in that sense. So I just want to get some knowledge and get some experience on the other side of the fence, you know, in their natural habitat, wherever that may be, and just kind of throw myself into that for a little bit. So that's definitely my next animal-related.
That's cool, just like knowing both sides of the coin. I love that.
Yeah, yes,
that's really cool.
That is awesome. I want to say too, I never knew ligers existed. I always thought they were from. I always thought they were a joke from Napoleon Dynamite until I've seen Tiger King. When did ligers come around?
Yeah, we actually had tons of them. You know, Joe had this entire breeding program that he worked with Texas A&M on. So it was very successful. We had many ligers, and some of our ligers actually reproduced themselves, which most obviously thought was a myth as well, or impossible.
Yes.
So yeah, it was an incredibly successful breeding program. But again, that's kind of a part of the controversy as well. So
wow.
I just enjoy. Incredible to just touch these animals that, like you said, most people don't even know exist.
Yeah,
you know, it's pretty.
I really didn't. Just even watching, I think it was towards the end when it showed the one guy without legs when he was just sitting and the one lion was on his lap. I'm like, that's so surreal and so beautiful. Like, it's just so cool.
That's an incredible, you know, experience right there. And I'll tell you something, that lion loves that man. It's pretty apparent in the video, but I know both of them personally, and I've never seen a stronger bond between man and animal, you know? So, pretty incredible.
That is incredible. Totally incredible. What have you been up to since then, Saf? Have you have you pursued any acting or anything like that?
No, not so much acting. I was very fortunate to be invited to participate in a sketch comedy, which was fun. It was a blast. So that's really kind of what I've been doing, is just having fun with it, and just enjoying life. I was blessed with this platform, and in any way that I can, I'd like to use it progressively. But right now, I'm just kind of enjoying life.
If I'm not out of line here, what state do you currently live in?
I live in California.
California, okay. Where was Joe? Joe was in Florida, correct?
No, the zoo was in Oklahoma. Carol, the other zoo, and Joe's nemesis, is in Florida.
Okay,
And
okay.
I believe Joe currently resides in Texas.
Do you think Carol did it? Carol Baskin?
In my personal small bubble opinion, absolutely. Because she's the only one who benefited from his disappearance.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
And again, it's all just opinion.
Had you ever interacted with Carol?
Not personally and not in person, but she did contact me immediately after my incident. If you can imagine her intentions there.
Yes.
And I just told her, the same thing I told anyone who wanted to ask me about her and Joe's feud. It's none of my business, and I stayed out of it.
Wow.
So,
very good.
Last
Seth.
I heard from Carol, and I'm pretty sure she kind of understood where I stood with the whole thing.
Got the picture. And on the other side of the coin, do you think that Joe had gone that route to hire Hitman? Because from what I personally believe, I don't. I feel like he got set up.
No. I know that man. Almost 10 years working directly with him every single day, all day. Joe is a lot of things. But one thing that he's more than any is he's too chicken shit, man. He would never have the balls to do that.
Yes.
No.
That's what I see. As he was a genuine person, he wouldn't take so much shit. I don't feel that he would go that route, and I feel like he was done dirty by other people.
Yeah. The thing about Joe is he will do anything and everything it takes to, be successful in whatever it is that he's pushing for. And I understand that part of him.
Yes.
Like I said, he is just, man, sometimes he jumps at his own shadows. He does not have that in him. He's a lot of talk. He's a lot of talk.
I do that myself, just laughing at that. I'll be in my driveway sometimes at like 2 a.m. having a cigarette, and I'm like, who is that? And I jump, and it's my dumb shadow.
Yeah. He's a great man. I worked with him, like I said, for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And I just don't see him doing that. No, not all on his own.
Yeah.
I've known him since 2010. Carol's been in the picture since way before 2010, and he's talked about Carol the way he's talked about Carol the same, all these times, all these years.
Yeah.
And, he's never pursued anything. He's just been all talk and all show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wouldn't make sense for him for all those years.
Yeah, why would you be that showman and then go that route? Yeah, you wouldn't do that. Like
And it kind of became a part of his like character and his stick that like, Carol Baskin, like fuck Carol Baskin, like, and that's just
you have a 2-minute conversation with him on any given day at any given time of day. He will mention Carol.
That's amazing.
Probably 20 times.
Very well known, so I definitely feel like he was pushed and encouraged, in a certain direction.
Yeah.
And Joe just anything he had to do,
Yeah.
So.
Kelci, before we have to wrap it up, I want to ask if you could do us a favor and say this is Kelci Saffery from the Tiger King, and you're listening to the Rob and Slim Show, and if you want to ad-lib anything in there, you could feel free as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Kelci Saffery. Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Ready?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Kelci Saffery, and you're listening to the Rob and Slim Show.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kelci.
Guarantee, guys, guarantee.
Oh, it's been, like I said, you are my favorite. You and I also loved some of the other workers there, and the guy who was his campaign manager.
Yeah, that was like the Walmart manager. That guy was awesome.
He was awesome.
No, he is. He's good people, man. He really is. I can't imagine him being a little different now since his experience, you know. But man, he's good people. I like Josh.
Yeah, yes, that was his name, Josh. He was awesome. He was super cool. And what is there going to be any other episodes of the Tiger King?
You know, there's a lot of talk of it. I mean, like I said, it's all buzz right now. But as far as me, no, nothing for me.
Okay. Were you when they first approached you, were you totally down with being on it, or like you said you were out of, you kind of wanted out of the whole scene? Like when they approached you to be in it, were you accepting?
Yeah, no, I stepped completely away. I refused to even do the documentary, and Netflix bought the documentary from the filmmaker that I know, the guy who's been filming on Park for almost 5 years.
Okay.
So we never thought it was going to be a Netflix thing. So even then, knowing that this was just this documentary that this guy was passionate about, I still didn't want to be a part of it, just because I wanted to disconnect completely. But then he said, this story's going to be told, man, with or without you, but I think it's best if you tell it. So that's all I needed. I participated. I told my story, and then now we're here.
Because I had read things, too, like Carol said she was duped, but still, she sat there and said everything that they showed. Yeah. It wasn't like they were tricking her into saying things, like, so, like, that's what I feel like. You told your story, and you did it, I feel, the way you should have.
The only thing that I got to comments like that is, it's not like they gave you a script and you read it out loud. I mean, they asked you questions, you answered it. That's how my interview went. Yeah. So unless they're just a lot different from mine, I think Carol is just upset that,
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I knew, this is what Joe knew, but now the world knows it, so it's a little different.
I love that. Just like you said, yep, now the world knows. Kelci, it's been amazing talking to you. Thank you so much. Again, you're an incredible person. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and obviously Twitter. On Facebook and Instagram, it's under my Hawaiian name. So it's a little bit harder to find me, but
what's your Hawaiian name?
It's KAIULANI, Saffery, and yeah, other than that, I'll be here in California enjoying the sun.
Cool. Enjoy it, Kelci, and stay safe.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on again. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you guys too.
Cool.
Wow. What a fucking great interview.